can I minimize my alimony obligation? Hi, I'm Bill Farias, founder of Farias Family Law. And this question came up a couple of months ago. I spoke to a gentleman who is headed toward divorce. He knows he's going to have to pay alimony, but he's a little bit nervous about it, and he's trying to figure out how he can minimize his exposure. And he told me, look, I don't want to wrong my wife. I want to make sure that she has what she needs, but I don't think that I should be paying an exorbitant amount. How can I keep that number as low as I possibly can? So the way that alimony works is in determining whether to order alimony, for how long and how much, the court is going to consider a number of factors: the length of the marriage, the disparity in income between the parties' ability to earn income in the future and how much, the assets that they have, the assets they may be acquiring in the future, among other factors. The two main ones are really the length of the marriage and the disparity in income between the parties. So what you're looking at is, in the alimony law that's in effect right now, we are in March of 2021, and the alimony law reads that sort of a rule of thumb for calculating alimony is 30 to 35% of the difference in the parties' gross incomes, or the recipient's need for alimony. And so what that means is you have the 30 to 35%, which is a guide. And the issue with that 30 to 35% is that after that alimony law was enacted, there was a change in the tax law. So now, as of 2021, alimony is not taxable or tax deductible on the federal level. And so what some judges have been doing is that they've been reducing that 30 to 35% to a lower number. And I've seen everything from 20% to 29%. I've seen some judges stick with the 30 to 35%. There's a fair amount of discretion because there's still some uncertainty about how to handle that. But intuitively, you would think if it was 30 to 35% before the tax law change, now that the payor is not getting that tax break, that we would reduce that percentage. And obviously the recipient is not paying taxes on the federal level on that money. So I think there should be some kind of adjustment. There isn't really a consensus as to how to go about it. So you have that 30 to 35% that may be reduced as a guide, but you also have need. And so need is about what the recipient actually needs to maintain a lifestyle that is similar to what that person had during the marriage. Now, look, the courts understand that whenever parties get divorced, they are not going to have the same standard of living as the marriage, because necessarily two houses are more expensive, or two households are more expensive than one. So when people split up, it's going to be more difficult for both to have a lifestyle exactly at the level they had during the marriage. It's just almost impossible. The math doesn't work. But the court does try to keep them as close to that standard as possible. And so the answer to this question about how to potentially reduce alimony exposure is to take a hard look at the needs of the recipient. How was the recipient living during the marriage? Now, of course, this may not work if it was more of an extravagant lifestyle and there was a lot being spent on vacations, on self-care, on extras. But if the parties lived a more frugal lifestyle, then there is some room for analysis here in trying to bring that alimony number down some, even if it's below that 30 to 35%, because the argument can be the recipient doesn't need more than that. This is the standard of living, or was the standard of living during the marriage, and this amount here, even though it's lower than the 30 to 35%, or whatever the adjusted amount is what this person needs to maintain that lifestyle. So that's how to approach alimony. There isn't a black and white formula. You have to look at the percentage range and figure out what that number would be in terms of the difference in their incomes. But also you should take a hard look at needs. What was that person spending during the marriage, and what does that person need to maintain a lifestyle that's close to what he or she had during the marriage. If you have any other questions, you can call us at 508-675-0464. You can also email us at info@fariousfamilylaw.com. If you found this video helpful, you can subscribe to our channel and share it with anyone you think might benefit from it. And you can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at Farious Family Law. Thank you. Have a good day.